Business TV. You feel what I'm saying? Now listen, man, you can tap in and you can tap out. But you know my slogan, you know what I suggest, and I suggest you tap in. So let's get right into it. Now you already know time, energy, the highest forms of currency, my G's. I know they got you out here chasing the bag, chasing that money, and chasing that paper, stacking that cheese, that cheddar, and that mozzarella. But always keep it in the front of your mental Rolodex. That time, energy, the highest forms of currency, my G's, at all times is what it is, and it'll be what it's going to be. Now, big salute to all my day one investors, everybody that's highly invested in the channel, everybody that understands that we are growing this channel organically, constant elevation. Yeah, we on our way to the top, well over 50,000 subscribers. We on our way to 60K, all right? Now, even bigger salute to all my newcomers, all my new subscribers, everybody that's making their way to the Realest channel on YouTube. Grown Man Business TV is what it is, and it'll be what it's going to be. You know how I'm giving it up, and you absolutely know how I'm putting it down, my G's, all right? Now, do me a favor, man. Wipe off your feet before you step into the big house. You understand me? Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure your notification bells are ringing loud and clear every time you step foot in the Realest channel on YouTube. Yours truly, Grown Man Business TV, is what it is, and it'll be what it's going to be. Now, listen, man. I got a lot of people in the DM. Yo, Big G and BTV, what's your perspective on the whole situation with Big U and Nipsey Hussle? I mean, what's your thought process on everything that's going down with Big U, Nipsey Hussle, and the Rolling 60 Crips? Is what it is, and it'll be what it's going to be. But I got to say, man, absolutely nasty work, okay? Now, it's a lot coming out. We all know Big U is facing a lot of time, something like a life sentence in regards to everything with Nipsey Hussle and all the other, you know, RICO charges that him and some of the Rolling 60 Crip members are facing, right? But they have uncovered a wiretap of Big U speaking about deleting Nipsey Hussle. You understand what I'm saying? And now, one thing for sure, two things for certain, I ain't surprised about this. You understand what I'm saying? If you are in tune with the channel, if you know what we do over here at Grown Man Business TV, or if you are in tune with the content, then you already know I spoke on this a long time ago. Yeah, we connected the dots when it come to Nip Hussle and Big U a long time ago. But being as though this is new, right? Being as though a lot of y'all want my perspective on this, you know, we gonna get into it. We're gonna have a conversation. All right, now, before we go any further, you already know I got to do some customizations to the chat before I can give you this pure dope straight off the brick directly into the bottles. We gotta do some customizations to the chat, man. The higher ups and the elites are always playing chess at the highest level. The higher ups and the elites are always trying to shadow ban the channel and muffle the message. They understand that Grown Man Business TV is an absolute threat to the establishment. Not only am I a threat to the establishment, but the revolution will be televised right here in these YouTube streets. Is what it is, and it'll be what it's going to be, all right? Now, like I said, man, we're going to do some customizations to the chat. Big U is back in the spotlight. You know, it's a lot going on with this RICO case. Nipsey Hussle is all mixed up in it, and we shouldn't be surprised about this. You know, the beautiful thing about it is it's all going to come to the light. You understand what I'm saying? And again, I said this a long time ago, you know, there is no sweeping this under the rug. You understand what I'm saying? It's a lot of people that their situations and their stories when it come to Big U, when it come to this gang culture, has been swept under the rug. But Nipsey Hussle, it's not going to work like that. You feel what I'm saying? And it is what it is, and it'll be what it's going to be. And the downloads told me that. The downloads told me a long time ago that everything with this situation was going to come to the light. And, you know, we're going to speak about that. You feel what I'm saying? We're going to go into, you know, a couple of different angles with this situation. And, you know, it is what it is, and it'll be what it's going to be. Tap in and tap out. But you know my slogan. You do know what I suggest, my G's. You feel what I'm saying? Now, you see that right there at the bottom of the chat, right? You see that right there, right? Before you get in here with your Twitter fingers, using your Twitter fingers to do the Twittering with your Twitter fingers, all in the comment section, doing the Twittering with your Twitter fingers. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure your notification bells are ringing loud and clear every time you step foot in the Realest channel on YouTube. Yours truly, Grown Man Business TV, is what it is, and it'll be what it's going to be, all right? Now, again, Big U is back in the algorithm. You feel what I'm saying? Big U is back under a spotlight. He's back under a microscope, being as though the federales have uncovered a wiretap of Big U expressing himself about Nipsey Hussle, talking about wanting and planning to delete Nipsey Hussle. You feel what I'm saying? Now, you got to understand something, man. I told y'all a long time ago that Nipsey Hussle had overshadowed Big U. You know, Nipsey Hussle had got to a point in his career when it come to music, in a career when it comes to gang culture, where he had become the big homie. And a lot of people don't like that angle, but it is what it is, and it'll be what it's gonna be. When I say Nipsey Hussle had become the big homie, I'm not talking about, you know, back in a rolling 60 Crip hood and what y'all do in the gang culture. I'm talking about globally. I'm talking about worldwide. You understand what I'm saying? And see, y'all go off a phrase out there in California that nobody is bigger than the program. And in some aspects, in most aspects, you guys are right. You know, most of the time you guys are right, but not all of the time. There are always exceptions to the rules. And Nipsey Hussle was an exception to the rule. Nipsey Hussle had become bigger than the program. Nipsey Hussle had become bigger than Big U. Nipsey Hussle had reached a level in his career where globally we were connecting Big Nipsey Hussle to the Rolling 60 Crips. You understand what I'm saying? All nationwide, all over the United States, and I'm talking about all over the globe. When you talked about the Rolling 60 Crips, you thought about Nipsey Hussle. When the Rolling 60 Crips name, when the image, when the thought of that gang came up, we all thought of Nipsey Hussle. You understand what I'm saying? And they always say, don't outshine the master. Never outshine the master. And this is one of the reasons why, because when you become, who you are supposed to be, when you reach your full potential and you begin to outshine the master, jealousy and envy starts to creep into the situation. And that's what happened with Big U. You understand what I'm saying? When it come to this whole debacle, nasty work what took place out there when it come to Nipsey Hussle, the Rolling 60 Crips, and Big U. You understand what I'm saying? So with this live stream, I want to go deeper than what's on the surface, what we already know. Envy, jealousy, took over the heart of Big U. And he felt like he deserved what Nipsey Hussle had. He felt like Nipsey Hussle was rapping about his life. And that's nasty work. That's disgusting. Absolutely nasty work. And with all that envy and jealousy, he let that get in the way of the movement. He let that get in the way of the mission. You understand what I'm saying? And California ain't been the same ever since. It been a dark cloud over California. It been a dark cloud over LA. It been a dark cloud over Crenshaw and Slauson ever since they shed that blood in front of the Crenshaw Marathon store out there in Cali. Ever since Nipsey Hussle lost his life, it ain't nothing been going good. It ain't nothing really been going, right out there. It's been a dark cloud out there. You understand what I'm saying? And Nipsey Hussle was the light. If you like it or not, Nipsey Hussle was the light. Nipsey Hussle was the way. That's another reason why Big U was jealous of Nipsey Hussle, because not only was Nipsey Hussle a gang member, not only was Nipsey Hussle a reputable, not only was Nipsey Hussle active when it comes to that gang culture, but Nipsey Hussle was trailblazing a new path for gang members. You understand what I'm saying? Nipsey Hussle was showing these youngsters the way. He was showing them the way. And that's one of the main, attributes. That's one of the main, things that Big U wasn't doing. Big U was a extortionist. Big U was a petty crook. Big U wants to rob you. He wants to steal from you. He wants to take from you. But Nipsey Hussle was showing the young gang members how to get out there, fish, and feed themselves. He was setting an example. He was giving a demonstration of what you could do and what you could become, even if you was a gang member. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous. You understand what I'm saying? And when you look at this whole situation, it really starts to come come together. You can really connect the dots on why Big U is in the positions he's in. Because not only was Big U a gang member, he was taking, he was extorting, he was robbing, and he was killing. And Big U was never a hustler to the point where he could figure out how to take this gang culture to the next level, how to monetize this gang culture. You understand how to capitalize off this gang culture. All he knew how to do was take other creatives and extort them, put them in bad contracts, rob them. And I want to tell you something, hustlers and robbers, we don't mix. You understand? We all come from the streets, but hustlers and robbers, we don't mix well. You want to take something and I want to make something. You want to take something, I want to make something. There's only a matter of time before me and you are going to split paths and we're not going to be able to be in the same room together. And that's what happened with Nipsey Hussle and Big U. Okay? You know, it get deep, it get wicked, and it's always deeper than rap. And one thing for sure, two things for certain, you already know, I kept the receipts, my G. We not going to stay long. I kept the receipts. I don't go nowhere without the receipts. And we going to get into these receipts. But Big U he's deserving of everything that's coming his way. And we're going to talk more about that. Big salute to the chat. Like I said, man, I wanted to just give y'all some context on where we going with this and what we talking about, but I want to go deeper. I'm going to go deeper tonight as far as Nipsey and Big U. You know, I really want to talk about energy. You understand what I'm saying? I really want to talk about clarity tonight. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's about recognizing certain energies and being able to have clarity, being clear-minded enough to see the signs. You understand what I'm saying? And Nipsey Hussle's already gone. He's already deceased. There's already a loss. We already lost Nipsey. So now that the loss has been committed, what are the lessons? Where are the lessons in this situation? And clarity is one of those lessons. You know, energy is one of those lessons. You understand what I'm saying? You know, we're going to get into that. When you become a man, you let go of childish things. See, you already know I'm going to get a little bit biblical with this as well. All right, so let's get into this first receipt right here. Give y'all some context on what's going on with these wiretaps and, you know, superseding indictments that's going on with the dude Big U. I don't even like to call him the homie. You know, that guy Big U, right? Let's get into this. Big salute to the chat. Look.
Big U hit with superseding indictment for threatening to kill Nipsey Hussle and other supposed to be overt acts, but other overacts? All right. Anyways, Eugene Big U Henley faced new federal racketeer charges alleging threats against Nipsey Hussle and violent gang control tactics. Federal prosecutors have sharpened their case against Eugene Big U Henley with a slate of new overt acts that depict him as a violent shot caller who boasted about disciplining Nipsey Hussle and others, even as he publicly branded himself a community mentor. There we go right here. In a new superseding indictment, the government does not accuse Big U of playing any role in Hussle's 2019 killing outside the Marathon clothing store in South Los Angeles. Damn, it's been 2019 since that shit happened. The murder was prosecuted in state court where Ronald, I was gonna say Ronald. I'm tripping, my bad, y'all. Eric Ronald Holder Jr. was convicted of first-degree murder and later sentenced to 60 years to life in prison. Instead, federal prosecutors say intercepted calls captured Big U's years later threatening to kill Nipsey Hussle and others in describing himself as the hunter of the Rolling 60s. Rhetoric they frame as part of a racketeering pattern of intimidation and control. On December 31st, 2022, on an intercepted call, Big U said that he was bigger than deceased rapper Nipsey Hussle and that he disciplined Nipsey Hussle and that defended he was bigger than any other Rolling 60, according to Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. On January 1st, 2023, on an intercepted call, defendant Big U said he was not beefing with Nipsey Hussle because if anyone beefs with Big U, I'ma kill him, period. I am going to murder him. The superseding indictment's new overt acts expanded far beyond the already detailed allegations about a Las Vegas studio artist's murder.
So I want to stop him right there and get right into this, right? This is just basically this superseding indictment is just basically confirming what I've been said. You feel what I'm saying? So there's no need to go all the way through it. It's just they found, wiretaps of Big U, basically just confirming that, yeah, homie, like he's saying things like I'm bigger than Nipsey Hussle. It's because he knew deep down inside that Nipsey had surpassed him. You understand? So, I don't got no beef with nobody, because if I got beef with dudes, they gonna get deleted. Or, I'm the rolling 60 Crip hunter. He led with fear tactics. You understand what I'm saying? And see, you know, this is why this situation really hurt California, LA, you know, in particular, is because it's easy to lead with fear tactics. It's easy to lead with threats and fear. But when you can lead by example, my G, when your demonstration is so strong that people want to follow, people want to mimic, and people want to learn, that's what make you dangerous. That's what make you dangerous. Anybody can pick up a gun and point it and say, do what I said to do. I told you to do this, do it. And most people are going to listen if a gun is pointed at them. But imagine if you just walk by and somebody see your demonstration. Imagine you just walk, you pull your car up, hop out your car and walk into an establishment, and somebody up the street watch you do that. They see you pull up in that Benz. When you hop out, they see you with all that gold and jewelry on. They smell that good Marathon OG on your clothes. They see your girlfriend or your wife, beautiful woman with you. They see that aura that you carry with yourself. And they instantly want to mimic that. They instantly want to know, how can I get like that? How can I get what you got without taking it? That's what make you powerful. You understand what I'm saying? That's something that everybody don't got and everybody can't do. So, Nip was one of those ones. Nip was just one of those ones. And you don't start out like that. When you find the gold, right? When they mine the gold ain't shiny, it ain't glistening, it ain't beautiful. You got to get that gold. You got to process that gold. You got to put that gold in the fire. And when you take that gold out the fire, now it's shiny. Now it's beautiful. Now everybody can see it and everybody wants it, and everybody's willing to spend whatever dollar they got for that gold. And that applies to the most of us. That's why a lot of us saw ourselves in Nipsey. Again, that's why a lot of us was inspired by Nipsey Hussle, because we were able to see, you understand what I'm saying, the diamond in the rough. And then we was able to see the process. And then we was able to see the finished result and the finished, product of a beautiful, shiny situation. You know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of gold and all that. Kilos on top of kilos on top of kilos of Cuban links and all of that. You understand? So, I say all that to say this, man. There's nobody that can change what the universe has in store for Big U, for the things that he did in the dark. Those wiretaps, those conversations, those green buttons and green light that he was given, them so-called alleged murders, all of that. There's nobody that can save you from that. There's no lawyer that can get you from behind that. Okay? Now, I guess where I'm gonna go with this as well is, because I'm not gonna stay on this long. The energies, right? The vibrations. I saw that in the chat, right? Let's get biblical with this. Let's just go ahead and get right into the biblical part, right? When you look at the situation with Nipsey, there are lessons on top of lessons on top of lessons. And those lessons are blessings on top of blessings on top of blessings. The lessons that I was able to pull from watching Nipsey Hussle lose his life, bro, you understand what I'm saying, are priceless. Priceless. And one of those lessons was energy. You know, you could be having a good day, right? Everything could be going smooth. Everything could be going lovely, right? And then somebody can call you. Somebody could text you. Somebody could cross your path, right? And it could ruin your day. It could just, you know, somebody you don't fuck with, you know, it could be something like that, right? A boss or somebody that you work. It could be anybody, you know, and you will allow it to ruin your day, right? Not understanding that with clarity, right? Clarity, you could be able to see that that is a test, and it's not always a test from the Most High. Sometimes it's a test from the other side. You know, every blessing don't come from the Most High. Sometimes you get blessed from the other side. The same way the Most High can bless you, the devil can bless you with something, right? And instead of like letting that thing ruin your day, right? It's good to think sometime like, damn, why is that? That's because some blessings is about to come, and this is a test right here. This is a test to see if you're going to curse the Most High, if you're going to allow this negative energy to ruin your vibration that's attracting your blessings. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel like with Nipsey is wise as he wasn't wise enough to understand that as a man, you got to let go of childish things. And if you don't let go of those childish things, you become cloudy, you become foggy. You understand what I'm saying? You become disoriented. You can't see clarity. You can't receive clarity if you holding on to childish things. And let me tell you something, that gang mentality, the rolling 60 Crips, that shit is childish material. Those are childish things. And that's why most gang members join the gang when they are children. They are teenagers. You understand? Most gang members are brought into a gang when they are children, because it's a childish thing. Those are childish ways. Those are childish thoughts, right? So when you turn 30, when you become a man, when you become 30 years old, 33 years old, and you still holding on to childish things, you can't see clearly. And when you can't see clearly, you don't think that it's odd that on a beautiful Sunday morning, March 31st, I think it was 2019, you get a call early in the morning for you to come up to the Marathon store because somebody just got out of prison and they need new clothes and you want to look out. You don't think that that's odd. You get up out your bed that you don't have to get out of, and you make your way to your demise, to your death. You drive yourself to your demise because you don't have enough clarity to see the double cross and the triple cross. And I got that from Nipsey. I learned that from Nipsey. See, as men, and it says this in the Bible, you know, when you become a man, you let go of childish things. You let go of childish ways. And why is that? Why, as a man, is it important for you to let go of your childish ways? Why is that? It's because if you don't let go of your childish ways, you can't see the grown man business. You won't have the clarity of a grown man. So you can see the devil at work. You can see the evils at work. You know, that all came to me again. You know, we all know what happened in Nipsey Hussle. We all saw broad day on camera. I'm talking 4K. What happened to Nipsey Hussle out there in LA on Crenshaw and Slauson. So there's no need for me to go over that and go over that. You know, if you want me to talk directly to that, I got content you could get into. I got shorts, I got live videos, all of that. This particular download is telling me to not necessarily tap in to the death of Nipsey Hussle, but to now tap in to the lessons that should be learned from the death of Nipsey Hussle. The lessons that come from this. In every loss, there's a lesson. In every lesson, there's a blessing. I mean, I don't know, man. They say I'm nice with the bars and all that. They say I'm nice with the bars and all of that. I'm saying, you know, in every loss is a lesson. In every lesson, there's a blessing. Nipsey was very wise, but one thing Nipsey didn't do is let go of childish things. You know, he was still a rolling 60 Crip. He was still hanging around with gang members. It was still, you know what I'm saying? What's up, cuz? What up, cuz? On hood, on the dead homies. Childish ways, my G. You know, big salute to the homie Mikey B, man. I don't want to go too far left, right? But I saw a live stream earlier from the homie Mikey B and Smitty, right? And salute to them boys doing their thing. And they was talking to a gang member. I think I might have that receipt, but they was talking to a gang member. I can't even think of the dude's name, right? They was talking to a gang member and they was trying to, I guess, convince him on why he should change his ways and X, Y, and Z. They was talking to Manny Brim, right? And, you know, I was in the back. I put a comment in there towards the end, but I sat in the background and I watched that situation. And salute to Mikey B, man, for just his emotion, right? Because one thing I notice about the homie Mikey is, you know, when it come down to talking about like gang activity and certain things, he becomes emotional because the Most High convicts him. The Most High convicts him for the things that he did in his childish ways. When he had not let go of childish things. When he talks about those experiences, he becomes emotional. Yo, literally, Mikey B will literally start crying on live stream because of the conversation. And I seen a couple of people say, yo, you know, Mikey B need therapy and X, Y, and Z. But what I wanted to say, and I'm gonna just throw this out here to the homie Mikey B, it's not necessarily that he need therapy. It's that the Most High will convict you. It's called being convicted. It's called conviction. When you know you was wrong when you did that, and then you speak about it, or something happens and you feel that conviction. You understand what I'm saying? So Mikey B is Mikey B, but anytime they start to get real in depth about certain gang topics and certain things that take place in the street, Mikey B gets very emotional because he is being convicted. And I just want to send this out to the homie Mikey. I don't know if he's in the chat. You know what I mean? Big salute to the homie Mikey B. Embrace that conviction, my G. The reason you feel the way you feel and you are being convicted in that manner is because you are on the right path, my G. You know what I'm saying? You did some things you might feel like you can't turn back the hands of time. We all make mistakes, right? But when the Most High convicts you, that means you are on the right path. Now, if you was talking like Manny Brim and moving like Manny Brim, you're not in the position to where you're going to feel the conviction from the Most High because you have not let go. Manny Brim, whatever his name is, Loaf Gang, he has not let go of childish ways. He has not let go of childish ways, homie. And it's really nothing you could do or say. It's nothing you could do or say. As a man, you will come to a fork in the road where you will have to make a decision to let go of childish ways. And if you don't let go of childish ways, then the decision will be made for you. And most likely you end up like Big U, facing 100 years, crying on live stream, talking about, yo, I didn't mean it. Nah, nigga, don't get the crying now, nigga. Yeah, all that whining and shit, just put your hands behind your back. Everything you say and can do will be used against you in the court of law. If you don't have a lawyer, we will provide a lawyer for you. Just Just do what you got to do. Go through the process. I guarantee you, Big U had multiple different opportunities to put away childish ways. And again, to the homie Mikey B and whoever else is paying attention and listening and falling under the voice of Grown Man Business TV, I'm going to tell you something. You will have multiple opportunities to let go of childish ways. If you see the opportunities or not, or if you take advantage of the opportunities or not, will be on you. But don't get to crying when your ass go back to prison or something happened and now all of a sudden you can see clearly. Yeah, because it always seemed to be when they put them handcuffs on your ass, now you can see clearly. When somebody pop a hot ball in your ass, now you can see clearly. Now oh, I know I should have went. Yeah, you should have went to the house. You should have listened. But you don't have the clarity to listen because you are holding on to childish ways. And that's one of the things that I took from Nipsey Hussle. You know, over the years, the lessons and the blessings do come in and the downloads download. And that is a strong download that I took in, you know, in due time. I realized like, damn, you know, Nipsey was smart, but sometimes you ain't smart enough. Nipsey was wise. He was a wise man. But a lot of the times and most of the times it's deeper than how wise you are. Are you tapped into the Most High? What do you believe? I mean, what are you taking from this? And you could fight with it. Oh, was it this or was it that? That's your internal battle within yourself. If it really happened, if it didn't really happen, is God real? X, Y, and Z. That's your own internal battle. But the evils are working overtime. The evils never sleep, my G. The evils are working overtime. They don't take a day off. They don't take a lunch break. It is what it is. So the moment that your soul is available, the moment that you slip, the moment that you ain't paying attention, the moment you ain't covered, you ain't protected by the word. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Is what it is and it'll be what it's going to be. And not even a Nipsey Hussle can escape. Yeah, not even Nipsey Hussle. Not even Nipsey the Great. Not even Nip the Crip. Not even Nipsey Hussle can escape that. Salute Trooper 69. I see you in the chat, man. Highly appreciate that. Big Wrenches. You already know how we giving it up. Yeah, I don't really want to just talk, but we already know what happened. The real question is, why did it happen? How did it happen? What are the lessons? Where are the blessings? This right here will be a lesson that you can and will be able to convert into a blessing. In that good book, it says we need to let go. Grown men let go of childish things. It also says a man will relinquish his mother and cling to his wife. I bet you Nipsey Hussle wish he could marry Lauren London right now. Hey, listen. In that good book, it says, a man will relinquish his mother and he will cling to his wife. That's what it's saying there. He will cling to. Imagine how many arguments Nipsey might have had with Lauren London. Imagine the thoughts Lauren London had, how many times she wished that Nipsey would have got on one knee and made her Mrs. Hussle. Let's go deeper, right? Imagine the internal struggle Nipsey was having when he could tell that Lauren London was his wife, but he was fighting with temptation. He was fighting with worldly things. He's becoming a superstar. You know what I'm saying? He got India Love. He got all these beautiful bitches all around him. And he ain't sure. He's gonna take his time because he don't want to jump out there. He don't want to rush it. You know what I'm saying? Because we always believe we got all the time in the world. That's the God in us. The God in us makes us feel like somehow we are immortal. If you could talk to Nip now, I bet you he'll marry Lauren London without the blink of an eye. If the Most High said, Nip, I'm about to send you back, but you gotta marry Lauren London. You gotta put a ring on a finger. You gotta create a covenant of your marriage under God. Are you willing to do that? Nipsey Hussle would jump at that chain. He wouldn't even have to ask. His ass would come back at the altar with the ring already. Yeah, I do. See what I'm saying? But because you holding on to childish ways, you ain't seeing clearly enough to understand that, you know, that's your wife. And guess what? Let's go deeper. When Nipsey would have got that phone call, I guarantee you if he was married, Lauren would have been right there next to him, because niggas don't move a certain way when they wived up, when they got a wife. But when you the girlfriend and you the baby mama, you know, a nigga might stay at his mama house tonight. That's what Nipsey did. He stayed at his grandmama house for some reason. When you marry, you don't really do shit like that. When you a married man, you make sure to go home at the end of the night. Well, you know, however late it is, you ain't gonna call your wife and say, yo, I'm staying at my grandmama house tonight. But you might do that with your baby mama or your girlfriend. You can get that over on your girlfriend. Guaranteed, Nip wouldn't have stayed at his grandmama house and slept in the room back there. He would have took his ass back to the house where the kids and his wife he was, and he would have made his way to the store the next day. And when homie would have called in the morning, he would have said, listen, man, yo, who at the store? Yo, Cowboy, give homie what he want, give him what he need, give his kids some clothes. I ain't coming right now. I'm still asleep. Who at the store? Okay. Yeah, I ain't gonna be able to make it. I'm all the way at the house. I got wifey right here. I got baby boy right here. Everybody, I can't. Hey, listen, put Cowboy on the phone. Yo, Cowboy, what it do, my G? Listen, homie just got home. You already see the OG. He just got home. You know he Gucci. Take him in the store, open the store, give him what he want. 5 pair of pants, 5 pair of sweatpants, 5 sweatshirts, 5 regular shirts, 5 marathon hats. Make sure he's straight for the week. I see y'all when I get there. But because you ain't let go of childish things, you can't see clearly. And when you can't see clearly, when you are not blessed with the clarity, you could be motherfucking John Gotti. You could be the smartest man, the wisest man to walk the face of the earth. You could be Nikola Tesla, and the evils will find a way to put you out of business. Okay? Big salute to the chat, man. You know, like I said, I really almost was going to do a whole live stream. Salute to Mikey B. Salute to Smitty, to the homie Mikey again, brother. I'm gonna just say it one more time. I don't even think Mikey's in the chat. He normally be around sometime. A lot of people don't understand why Mikey be like, every now and then this nigga start crying on his live stream. This nigga will literally start I be watching him. You know what I'm saying? I fuck with Mikey. You know what I mean? And he'll be expressing something, and then you could tell this nigga is about to cry. You know what I mean? Respectfully. And nobody in the chat was able to connect the dots. I was watching the chat. I stay in the background sometimes. I just want to see what's going on. You know what I mean? I don't want to jump in there, nigga. Oh, yo, GMB TV, he from, yo. I just want to play the background, and I was watching it, and everybody always think therapy. Oh, Mikey B needs therapy. Oh, Mikey B is traumatized. Nah. You know, conviction is powerful. You know, when people be at church or they're celebrating and they're doing this, you know, the thing with the church, and they start crying and then they get real emotional and people call it the Holy Ghost. A lot of the times it is conviction. On the inside, you know, and God will convict you, bro. It's really hard to explain, but it's like if you knew you did something wrong and you got away with it, and then you hear a certain song or somebody says something and you become emotional, it's like, you know, you're being convicted, right? And, you know, Mikey did some wild shit. Mikey did some wild shit. He got charged with 2 bodies and 2 attempts, right? He took his homie with him that, you know, he said he felt like he ruined his homie's life, Fly Tie, right? I heard him say this. He said, I ruined his life because I took him with me, X, Y, and Z. And because he is doing the right thing, Mikey, because you are on the right path, there goes the conviction. There goes the emotion. You understand what I'm saying? You got to know, man, if you don't feel convicted, or if you're not having setbacks, if you're not having certain obstacles being put in front of you, that's because you're not doing something right. You're not doing something right. The evils is going to work overtime on you when you walking into the light, when you walking side by side with the Most High, whoever the Most High is to you, when you walking in sequence with the Most High, the evils is going to work overtime. Sometimes the evils don't even got to work overtime. Sometimes the evils in the Most High have come into an agreement to test you. Again, we biblical with this, right? It's a book. It's a chapter in that good book. It's one of my favorite chapters. And it's the book of Job. The book of Job. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure, if you know about the book of Job, then you can let me know in the chat if you know about the book of Job. I guess you could put a 1 in the chat. But the book of Job, right? Job is a very wealthy man back in those days. Highly, highly wealthy. Job has about 100 sheep. He got about 100 cattle. He got beautiful wives. He got a lot of land. He got about, 500 acres of land. Job is extremely successful, right? And he's very faithful, right? And I could do a whole live stream on this book right here, but I'm gonna just get, somehow, some way, the evils, Satan is in heaven with God having a conversation. Now that right there always throws me off, and it always makes me ask questions, and always makes my wheels turn. That Satan is in heaven having a direct conversation with the Most High. I'm going somewhere with this. The Most High asks Satan, yo, what you down there on earth doing, my G? Satan says, listen, I'm down there taking souls, doing what I do. I'm having my way down there on down there on planet Earth. I'm having my way with your people down there. God says to Satan, right? He says, have you ever heard of my loyal servant Job? You haven't heard of Job, right? He's loyal. Satan says to God, right? Listen, man. Yeah, I heard of Job. He's loyal. He's definitely loyal. But he's only loyal because you won't let me put my hands on him. Job is only loyal to you because you really won't let me get it in and put my hands on. But I guarantee you, if you let me touch Job, he'll curse your name. That's what the devil, Satan, tells the Most High, right? So the Most High, he says, you know what? I'm going to take that bet. Do your thing with Job. Do whatever you want to do with Job. Just don't kill him. He belongs to me. You can't kill him. But go down there and test him. The devil say no more, say less. He go down there. Next thing you know, Job is losing all his cattle. He's losing everything. Job done lost his cattle. He done lost his sheep. He done lost some of his land. He done got sick. Job done got all kind of shit going on. He done caught some diseases and shit. Job don't know what's going on. Job saying, I'm loyal. What's going on? He talking to the Most High. He saying, man, I lost everything, right? What the fuck is going on down here? Satan go back up there. God say, yeah, you see, the Most High say, listen, you see, I told you. He go down there and do it again. Long story short, he multiplies everything Job has times like 1,000. You understand what I'm saying? So you could be cursed. You could be tested. You can't have testimony without being tested. And after you go through the test, after you go through the fire, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, I see that. Salute. I know you want me to get back to Nipsey, but you got to understand something. It's really not about Nipsey. What don't we know about Nipsey, homie? You know what could I tell you that we don't already know about the Nipsey Hussle situation? The only thing I really can give you is the lessons that should be learned from the loss of Nipsey Hussle. That's really all this is. You know what I'm saying? Job is a fire book in that good book. You know, it's one of my favorites. All right. And I just wanted to throw that out there again because big salute to the homie Mikey B, man. You know, fire live stream earlier. Should have got way more views. And I wanted to speak to that. But yeah, salute to that. You know what I mean? Again, Nipsey didn't let go of childish ways. Nipsey was an active rolling 60 Crip. That's childish as fuck. As smart as he was, that's like one of the most childish things you could do is still be an active gang member. Still be talking about own hood. You know what I'm saying? Own hood. You know, this is Crip gang and neighborhood. You know what? I want to give you another. You know, you want to talk about Nip. Let's do this. Recently, Crip Mac was released from prison. Now, you know, big salute to Crip Mac for coming home from prison. Like I said before, I don't wish jail on none of y'all. But I don't think it's that bad going to prison. I think some of you dudes need to go to prison. And Crip Mac, I think he was one of those guys. But Crip Mac, right, was recently released from prison out there in LA, and it's a big celebration. And, you know, I saw the clips, I saw the receipts of Crip Mac being released from prison. You know, he doing the Crip walk, he's celebrating, he throwing up the gang signs, you know, all of that. And I said to myself, they killed Nipsey Hussle and gave us Crip Mac. Listen, they got rid of Nipsey Hussle and they gave us Crip Mac. Now listen, man, you think that was by coincidence? You think it was a coincidence that they got rid of a dude like Nipsey Hussle, as wise as he was, the demonstrations he was giving, and gave us Crip Mac, an absolute alcoholic? You understand what I'm saying? A Crip, a gang member, you know, that's never gonna let it go, can barely speak proper. I mean, just listen, man, you think it's a coincidence they got rid of Nipsey Hussle and gave us Crip Mac? Nasty work, my G. Not only did they get rid of Nipsey Hussle and give us Crip Mac, but now they got Crip Mac back in the algorithm. Yeah, I mean, poisoning the content. Nasty work. Absolutely disgusting. But the lesson is in this is the reality of gang culture. The lesson in this situation, when they took away Nipsey Hussle and they gave us Crip Mac, they gave us Brick Baby, is that when you look at these gang members, this is what it really looked like. This is the reality when it comes to these gang members. A lot of them ain't got a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of. A lot of them is alcoholics. A lot of them is strung out on that Zaza, popping perks and popping pills. A lot of them is hanging out at those parks all day. When did grown men, why is grown men hanging out at the park out there in California? Babies can't even swing on the goddamn swing. The babies can't go down the slide. The babies can't have a good time at the park because you got gang members meeting up at the park for the squabbles and all of that. So again, you're going to have losses, lessons, and blessings. Nipsey Hussle, that was a loss. The lesson is that I can connect the dot and tell you they got rid of Nipsey Hussle and they gave us Crip Mac, and that is no coincidence. The blessing is that I can recognize what that is. Look at Crip Mac and tell me you want to be a Crip. Let's hold Crip Mac up in front of these youngsters and ask these youngsters, you want to be like Crip Mac? You want to be like that? Is that what you want to do? Or do you want to go to school? Or do you want to start a business? Or do you want to be like Nipsey Hussle? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? Do you want to learn how to code over there at Vector 90 or whatever that is, that, you know, that situation that Nipsey Hussle has over there on Crenshaw and Slauson for the youngsters to go and learn how to do coding and make their way to Silicon Valley and all of that? Or do you want to be like Crip Mac? And I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 youngsters will look at Crip Mac and say, oh, no, I'm good. I'm going to go to school, man. Nah, I don't want to get jumped in the gang. I don't want to be part of 5-5 Crip. I don't want to be a part of none of that. If I got to be like Crip Mac, hell no. Hell no, I'm good on that. Yeah, came out of prison looking a goddamn mess. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah, I told you, I don't wish prison on nobody. But it ain't nothing wrong with a couple of you dudes going where you need to go. I mean, if you're knocking on the door, I think they need to open the door and let your ass into prison. Yeah. You know, this algorithm move real fast, my G. All that 5-5 Crip, it ain't hitting the same like it did a couple of years ago. All that Crip Mac and Crip Juice and all of that, it ain't really hitting like it used to. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the algorithm is fickle. The same people that was rocking with Crip Mac 2 years ago is, you know, yeah, they done made a lot of, yeah, man, forward progression. They looking like, it ain't hitting like it used to. You actually looking like a goofy. You understand me? Crip Mac was released from prison. They got rid of Crip. They got rid of Nipsey Hussle and gave us Crip Mac. They got rid of Nipsey Hussle and they gave us Brick Baby. And you wonder why LA is in shambles right now. You wonder why y'all got that goofy. Yeah, y'all got the goof troop. Y'all got the goof troop running around LA right now. Again, with clarity, right? You should be able to see this. With clarity, you should be able to see they got rid of Nipsey on purpose and they gave us Crip Mac. How you think Crip Mac still? I mean, Crip Mac is everywhere. They had him all over the place just a couple of years ago. You couldn't get on YouTube. You couldn't get on social media without hearing 5-5 Crip. Like it's cool or something. Like, you know what I mean? Nasty work. Is what it is and it'll be what it's gonna be. They got rid of Nipsey Hussle and they gave us Crip Mac, and they did that for a reason. They got rid of the Tribe Called Quest and they gave us NWA for a reason. They got rid of Public Enemy and did the same thing for a reason. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Is what it is and it'll be what it's gonna be. Clarity, my G. Now I wanna switch lanes because, like I said, man, I'm not staying that long, and I kind of want to get into this situation about 50 Cent and T.I. Okay, now 50 Cent. Listen. I want to get into the situation with 50 Cent and T.I. Absolutely nasty work, my G's, what's going on between 50 Cent and the homie Tip. You feel me? Now, you know, one thing for sure, two things for certain. 50 Cent is a king troll. I mean, he know what he doing when it come to this algorithm. He know exactly what he doing when it come to social media. But when is somebody gonna step up and say it's starting to get goofy? It's starting to become goofy, my G. You know, one thing for sure, two things for certain. I gotta be honest. I'm starting to lose a certain amount of respect for 50 Cent. You know, 50 Cent and the G Unit garnered a certain amount of respect when I was coming up, and watching 50 Cent all over Instagram and all over social media, going back and forth with each and every person that he sees fit. I'm beginning to lose a certain amount of respect for 50. He is selling his integrity and it's becoming goofy. Okay? Now, you got to know something, right? One of the main red flags for me when it comes to 50 Cent is the fact that he will have a problem with a man and then he will redirect his energy towards a woman. Okay? We got to really call this for what it is. 50 Cent had a problem with Pat Poose, and he redirected his energy towards Clarissa Shields. 50 Cent had a problem with T.I.P., and he redirected his energy towards his wife. And I want to tell you something. It is nothing grown man business about that. Always turn a side eye to a man that will redirect his energy towards a woman. Listen, Corey Holcomb did the same thing. Corey Holcomb had all that energy for that lady outside that comedy club, but when Anton Daniels told him, let's take it outside, he didn't want to do that. 50, if you got a problem with Tip, you need to handle that with Tip. Bringing his wife into the situation make you look like a whole hoe out here. And I'm not understanding why nobody is saying this. You called Tip a snitch. You called him a rat. Well, when I was coming up, you had to do something about that. You didn't just get to point out the rat and then go on about your business. If you see a rat, you hit a rat. But okay, let's just say it's a new day and age and that ain't feasible. Okay, cool. But if you got a problem with Tip, then you got a problem with Tip, man. Calling out his wife, no matter what she looked like. That's all. That's man, you's a whole hoe out here, man. You understand? And the reason why I'm speaking on that is because when he did that with Pat Poose, I felt the same way. You and Pat Poose is having words. Clarissa Shields is a woman. She don't got nothing to do with the situation. Why is you talking to a woman when you got a problem with Pap? Okay? Now, T.I.P., his son King, he went live and he got real disrespectful with 50. Said some real disrespectful things about 50's mother, and he really took it there. And it's a lot of people asking my perspective on the situation. And I don't think he did nothing wrong, man. You understand what I'm saying? You posted his mother on Instagram, no matter what she looked like, because those BBLs is nasty work. Okay? Whole time, your mother is where she at. You know what I'm saying? Your mother is where she at. You shouldn't be doing, you can't move like that. I mean, you can move like that, but it's nasty work. So I don't, it is what it is. What homie said, and he's standing on that. And I don't feel no way about that. I think, that's what come with that. But again, man, any man that will argue with another man or have a problem with another man and then redirect his energy towards a woman, you got that pussy, man. You smelling like that. Yeah, you smelling like a wolf pussy right here. You smelling like a menstrual cycle. Yeah. And every time I see Fifth react, it's getting more pungent. The smell's becoming more and more pungent. And when you really dig into it and you get deep, it get wicked, and it's always deeper than rap. You talking about T.I.P.'s wife like your baby mama wasn't on a